Everybody, how's it going? A few days ago, my dad, he wanted me to take him to a funeral home. He wanted to go ahead and pre-plan and prepay for all of his funeral, everything the way he wanted it. So I took him to one. That's what he did. He went ahead and got everything set up the way he wanted it. And what he decided on, he decided not to have a visitation. It's just going to be like a graveside service. And they told him that by doing that, he wouldn't have to have embalming, because here in North Carolina, the state law says if there's going to be a viewing, the body has to be embalmed. If there's not going to be a viewing, then it's not required by law. So he opted just not even have a visitation. He's just going to have a graveside service. He picked out the casket that he wanted. The one he picked, it was sort of like a mid-tier. It's not the most expensive. It's not the cheapest one either. He went with that. He went with just a concrete vault or grave line or whatever you want to call it. That's what he picked. That's what he wanted. Anyway, everything that he picked out, they tallied everything up, and it was still like $9,400 something, almost $9,500 for what he picked out. These funeral costs, I mean, this is ridiculous, honestly, paying this kind of money. And that's without embalming. That would have added a little bit to it, and these other things. It was still about $9,500 what he picked out. I have been thinking about this for a few years now, and I had already decided that I don't even want to go that route. When my time comes, I want what some people call a green burial. I don't really like that term myself. A lot of people's calling it a natural burial. I like that a little better. I don't really care for the term green burial, but that's what I want for me. If you're not familiar with what that is, that's where they don't use any embalming. They use just a plain wooden casket, or you can even get cardboard caskets now. You can be wrapped in a shroud. That's all they use. There's no kind of vault or burial line or anything like that used. And there's a few little more people's going for that now, because it is a lot cheaper. It's also really better for the environment, because you're not putting those toxic chemicals in the ground, because your body, even if you're embalmed, your body's still going to decay. There's some people that think you last forever that way, but you don't. Your body will still decay even if you're embalmed. And that stuff, the vault, those modern caskets, they break down in time too. And then those chemicals that were put in your body, they're going to go into the ground. The green burial is it's better for the environment. This embalming, it really got started here in America back during the Civil War. And one of the things that they used back then was arsenic. That was one of the ingredients. And there's cemeteries today where have a lot of those soldiers killed during the war. A lot of those soldiers are buried in them. And they say they've tested the groundwater, the wells out around those cemeteries, and there's elevated levels of arsenic in the wells now from where those bodies decomposed. Of course, back then it was still just mainly wooden boxes they buried people in, but still, this stuff they use today is not going to last forever. The natural burial, it is better environmentally. It's a whole lot cheaper. I know my dad, he went ahead and prepaid for his, so his is done. I don't want to pay that kind of money for my body to be put in the ground. I don't want anybody else paying that kind of money to bury me in the ground. I just don't see the point in it personally. It makes no sense to me having to spend that kind of money just to put a body in the ground. That's why I say I would rather have the natural burial myself, and I'm thinking about going ahead and getting mine set up. Go ahead and have it fixed where that's what I'll have. Go ahead and pay for it. It's done. It's over with. I would like to sell this house that I've got here now. That's what I'm wanting to do, and get me a piece of land, get back out more in a rural setting. And if I can get that done, I would like to try to get a little piece of that ground set aside to actually have just a little cemetery, basically a little family cemetery there on that piece of ground. And if I can get that done, there's where I'll be buried at. I personally, I would rather be there than put out in a cemetery. I know I'm going to be dead. I'm not going to know about it. But I would rather be on that piece of ground. And really, if I can get set up like I'm wanting to, I've got a couple of dogs here. When they go, I'll just, when they go, I'll just put them out there. There's something coming up here on this phone, excuse me. When they go, I'll just put them out there, and when I go, they can bury me out there. Just put me out there with my dogs. I honestly would just rather be on my piece of ground with my dogs than to be buried in a regular cemetery with people that I didn't even know when I was alive anyway. I would really rather just be on my piece of ground with my dogs. That's really what I want. And I don't see the point in all this cost anymore. So that's what I'm thinking about going with. Just eliminate all these extra costs and just do it the quick, simple way. Do it more like they used to do back in the old days. I would rather have that myself. That's just my preference in this matter. Thanks for watching.